What's up? Alright, I'm back with a video. I haven't made a video in a while. Today I want to talk about the Bears. I might do a Cubs video soon. I'm wearing a Cubs hat, obviously. 'Cause I am from Chicago. But anyways, the Bears hold obviously the number 1 and number 9 pick. I think we all know what we're going with number 1. It's gonna be Caleb Williams. I don't think it's a debate. I don't think you're trading down to number 2, 3, or 4. I think it's going to be quarterbacks all throughout the board, 1 through 3. I think it's going to be personally Williams to the Bears, Daniels to the Commanders, and May to the Patriots. I think Washington can go either way. I think May is a solid prospect, and I think Jaden Daniels is a solid prospect, but I think Jaden Daniels is more of a risk in terms of he's very skinny, light build. He can get hit very hard sometimes, easily. Sometimes maybe could be easily injured. Anthony Richardson kind of player. He runs a little recklessly at times, but he's a really good thrower of the football. He's got a deep ball, some very good touch on his passes. But so does Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is another player who is just, I think, is generational just because of the way he can throw any different arm angles. I think he's a great pocket player, a great pocket quarterback. I think he can throw from the pocket. I think he can throw from the outside. And, I think his escapability is very well. He's very versatile. He can do a lot of things. He can punt. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he can do. But I think that, honestly, if Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors isn't there at 9, I think you should trade down and then end up drafting like Lai Tulatu or Dallas. No, Dallas Turner's probably going to be gone by if you trade down. But if you can get like Jared Verse with like the number 12 or 13, 14 pick, I'd be very excited about that. But honestly, if you trade down to number 20, 21, and you draft Brian Thomas, wide receiver out of LSU, I think that's another good player that you can look at. Brian Thomas has very, very good size and speed. He's like 6'3", 209, runs a 4.3, 4.40, 4.33. So I would be excited with either of those guys. But obviously I would want Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze first. Although I think Brian Thomas is going to be very good. I think his route tree I don't think his route tree is as complex, and I don't think he can run as many routes as of now. He's not as polished a route runner as Malik Neighbors and Odunze or Marvin Harrison Jr. are now, but he can definitely develop that. I want the Bears to trade down from 9 just because you need to get more than at least 4 draft picks. So if you can get like a second-round pick or a third, I would take it. And then honestly, in the second round, I would trade down in the second round while still staying in the second round, get a 4th or a 5th. That would be cool. I mean, but that's the thing. If you trade down to number 20 or something and you get there first and you get there second, you're probably looking at a later second-round pick. So that's the thing when you trade down in the first round. Draft time. This year's draft is a day after my 21st birthday, so I will be able to, I don't know. I'm not going to be doing any bets. But I'll be able to have a beer during the draft here and there. That'll be fun. I'm really excited about this draft. Obviously, I want Caleb Williams at 1. I mean, that trade that Ryan Poles made worked out so well. It's just, and you got a second next year. I do not want the Bears to trade any picks next year for whatever. I do not trade a second next year or a third. Keep your draft picks next year because they have what? A first next year, which is Chicago's first. It's nobody else's first. They've got 2 seconds. I think they have, do they have 2 thirds? No. I think they have a third, 2 fourths, a 5th, 6th, and a 7th. So, if I'm not mistaken. So, obviously, you probably are going to trade a couple of those picks away, especially if you got a guy that goes down in the middle of the season and you're looking for a playoff push or a Super Bowl push. Usually, you're going to trade for another player. They did that with Sweat this year. You gave up a second rounder this year to get Sweat, which I think was a great move. I didn't really like it at the time because you were giving away a higher pick, but that worked out great. The guy ended up leading the Commanders in sacks and the Bears, which is I've never seen that happen before. He had 6 sacks with the Commanders and 6 sacks with the Bears. I think that guy's a beast. Yuck. I think he's going to be with the Bears. Well, obviously he's going to be with the Bears the next 4 years, but you gave him a massive contract. I think you need to get another edge rusher on the other side of him. As much as I like Walker, he's more of a rotational guy. So I think he's got some high upside. Walker does. I don't know, Walker Jr. I forget what his last name is, or first name is, sorry. But either way, if you get one of the top edge rushers in this draft, you're sitting very pretty. I mean, honestly, if you draft a receiver in the first round, I would not mind going after Kamara Jr. from Colorado State. I think that'd be another good pick. I think he had, 13 sacks this past year for Colorado State. Granted, he doesn't play the top talent that versus Dallas Turner or Latu do, but we've seen guys from smaller schools completely ball out in the next level. Khalil Mack's a prime example of that. He's from University of Buffalo, so we shall see what the Bears do in this draft. I don't think you draft a running back, but I would not mind trading Khalil Herbert. And maybe you draft a running back with your last pick. Or, no. I think if you trade Khalil Herbert, you're trading him near the deadline. I don't think you're going to bring him back. He's a great number 2. He's not a great number 1. He's not a guy that's going to... He's not a guy that's going to be your goal line back and your every down back. He's more of a change of pace. But he's not that great of a pass catcher either. And I think for running back, you got to be able to catch and run. So, but man, I'll tell you what. Getting Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, whilst on top of having DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift in the first day of free agency. I mean, this offense is loaded now. I mean, you've got guys across the board. So if you just add maybe another offensive lineman, draft like a guard in the 3rd round, I don't think you have to draft a center this year just because you got that center from the Rams, and then you've got Ryan Bates. So I think you draft a center next year. But what you can do is draft Caleb Williams 1 overall, 1st overall. I think that's just a done deal. I think he's just a bear. He's too good of a prospect to pass up on. Granted, Mahomes was not the prospect that Caleb was coming out of college, but Caleb is probably the most talented quarterback prospect since, obviously, Trevor Lawrence. But I think he's better prospect than Trevor Lawrence was coming out of college. Granted, Caleb never won a national championship like Lawrence did his freshman year, but you know what? You don't need to be a better prospect. You don't need to win a championship. J.J. McCarthy won a national championship this past year, and he's not the best. He's not generational, and he's not considered a generational prospect, and he's not Well, he is one of the top quarterbacks in the draft, but, you know, he's not going first overall. And if the Commanders take him number 2, oh, that's domino effect. That's not... The Commanders would be stupid to draft J.J. McCarthy with the number 2 overall pick. I don't think it's a good situation for J.J., and I don't think it's a good situation for the Commanders. I think Commanders' best option is probably Jaden Daniels because of his rushing ability and his I like his down the field passing. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me know who your favorite NFL team is down below in the comments. And always like, comment, subscribe. And go Bears. Go the Caleb Williamses. Hey, let's go.